Hey there everyone, Mazarek here, and today I want to go over something very particular about the warrior, and that is the Mythic Plus Reprisal warrior. What changes in your rotation, what changes in your mindset, what changes do you have to make as a player going into Mythic Plus with the Reprisal legendary on the Protection warrior? And trust me, there's quite a few things that do change, enough to the point where you have to start using more buttons more frequently and some buttons less frequently depending on the encounter. So I really want to go over all of these things and just kind of give you the quick rundown on how to be the best prot war that you can be in Mythic Plus, because right now I think, especially at the end of 9.0.5, Protection Warrior stocks have risen up tremendously. I think one of the only things holding Protection Warrior back from being a top tier tank is actually the Vengeance Demon Hunter debuff that allows for 5% more magic damage because you're stacking magic damage classes in the meta. Like, that's currently the meta, magic damage classes, Fire Mage, Elisham, and things like that, where you get more out of the 5% magic debuff than the 5% physical attack power buff that you get from Warrior. And honestly, I think that's the biggest thing holding Prot War right back right now. So if that's the biggest thing holding Prot War back, it means that their toolkit is phenomenal. And I honestly have had an amazing amount of fun playing Protection Warrior, especially in M+. They are all around good. So we're going to go through why I think they're good, what you have to be pressing more, and things like that. And we're going to go from there. Before we get started, I stream on Twitch every Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday right now, as well as I'm adding in some extra days here or there. Come on by, check it out. You can follow me in the link down below. Our numbers are growing ever more on YouTube as well, and we're past 300. Huge thank you for past 300 subs. It has been an absolute fun journey to get here, and we're gonna keep growing and keep pushing. So please, as well with that, I am putting down a Discord link down below for the Mazarek community channel, where tanks and other players can get together in an atmosphere of positivity and just general fun and likeness for what we do, which is tanking and things like that. As well, I would like to start doing more key coaching or tank coaching, especially for players that are a little bit newer. If you're already running 15 pluses, I'd be able to help you out with a few tank classes like Warrior, Blood and such, since I know those ones very, very well. But there's a good chance you don't need a tremendous amount of coaching, but we can always improve. But if you're a new tank and you're trying to get into it and you're trying to figure out what you're doing wrong, in the community Discord as well, I'm going to be putting down a key coaching links channel, so that way you can upload your video to Google Drive, and I just link it to me there, and then that way I can check it out and maybe give you guys some key coaching and things like that if that's something that you guys would like. So now on to Reprisal Warrior. Alright, so to get this started, what is a Reprisal Protection Warrior? Well, Reprisal is the legendary of choice for Mythic Plus for Protection Warriors. So, having this legendary, Charge and Intervene now grant you shield block for 4 seconds, revenge, and it generates 20 rage. So it gives you a proc of revenge, generates 20 rage, and gives you one of the best defensibles in the game against physical damage, shield block for 4 seconds. Now with this, you are going to be able to get easy enough 80 to 95% effective uptime on your shield block combined with one of the talents. So we'll go over that a little bit later, but that is the general basis. This is what you're making for M+, and this is how you're going to use it. So you're going to be wanting to charge into battle, and you're going to be wanting to use Intervene more. So once we go over to talents, these are the talents that I'm running. I have explained most of these before, and I'll leave the link for my general Protection Warrior raid M+ and things like that. This is specifically guided towards the Reprisal build. But I am going to explain why I picked Bounding Stride over Crackling Thunder. Bounding Stride, it gives you 15 seconds less on your Heroic Leap, allowing you to charge weave a lot more through pulls. or kite if you need to. You're always going to have this when you need it most of the time. I use it a lot, and I'm finding it's on cooldown a little bit more than I'd like, but that's just the way it works out with the charge weaving and the defensive and higher keys. So I prefer bounding stride. I also prefer double time. Now, no one's going to say anything if you pick Stormbolt, because having a stun on a 30-second cooldown is absolutely excellent. I find that as a Night Fae Protection Warrior, now this isn't about covenants, as a Night Fae Protection Warrior, I've got quite a few options for stunning and stopping things with Shockwave, Ancient Aftershock, and Intimidating Shout. I have a lot of tools at my disposal for getting things to stop casting and doing all of those things, but I do find myself charge weaving a lot, so I always like having charge ready to go. And the more that you start using this, the more that you're going to find that you almost want more charges of charge. And then lastly, now anger management is your main DPS pick here. If you're gonna be most worried about your DPS in a key, anger management is absolutely your best pick. Now I go with bolster, and the reason why I go with bolster is it's not only a great defensive option, but it can be an offensive option if you use it that way and if you use the right conduit. So I prefer bolster because I actually found through pretty significant testing, one dungeon after the other swapping, I was only getting about 200 more DPS with anger management than I was bolster because of the way that I was using bolster. So Last Stand's cooldown is reduced by 1 minute down to 2 and grants you the shield block effect for its duration. That is 15 seconds of shield block, which means you do not have to worry about charge weaving or moving around for 15 seconds. Unless you are as a big pack and you have to kite, that's different, but you don't have to worry about charge weaving, intervening, or anything like that. But when you combine it with the conduit, Unnerving Focus. Last Stand increases your rage regeneration by X%. At 213, it's 45%. You combine this with Ravager. So you Last Stand, hit Ravager, you have rage just flying through you. You can revenge spam like crazy, not having to worry about shield block, because it's good for 15 seconds. Even if you think you're about to cap, put a shield block, put it in use Ignore Pain, boom. You're not capping, you're basically indestructible for that time frame. You're basically invincible, and you get to do a buttload of damage. With this, they have seen me spike up to 18, 19k on pulls with literally just Last Stand, Ravager, and then Ancient Aftershock, of course, with revenge spamming, and just keep on going. And the healer's like, you don't take much damage. You just don't. Between Ignore Pain and Shield Block, you're pretty much like light heals, it is. So you can do a lot of big damage on troublesome pulls with this. So it really does become a good offensive cooldown if you use it that way. But it can be a great defensive cooldown as well, allowing you to cast more Ignore Pains and set yourself up to be better off defensively. So really, I find this gives you the best of both worlds, and really at the end of the dungeon is not that significant of a DPS loss. Honestly, if a run is going to be broken by 200 DPS, literally going from 4.2 to 4k DPS, chances are that, I'm just gonna put it out there, that wasn't going to make or break the run. Just saying. But breaking a run by doing extra spike damage or being extra defensive on troublesome pulls, that can save a run. That really, really can. So honestly, I prefer it that way. So that's my reasoning to go with bolster, and that's especially when I'm pushing higher keys. To me, it just works out a lot better that way. On lower keys, I'll go with anger management, because at that point, why not? But That's just me and my opinion. I have seen other people go a little bit different, but everybody plays a little bit different. So I have seen some people say that the difference in a DPS is a lot higher, is a lot more. But are they using the conduit and things like that together? That's something that has to be more testing that honestly I just don't have more time for. So if you're going to be running Reprisal, I would be running the Unnerving Focus and Bolster, especially while you're learning. And with this, you're going to be able to master shield block uptime, because having it up for 15 seconds, amazing. Being able to tack onto it, and because remember, just because you hit shield block while you have shield block as active does not mean that the timer resets. It actually gets added on too. So, little fun fact for you. So if you have 4 seconds left on the shield block and you hit the shield block button, it will actually add another 6 seconds. So you'll end up with 10 seconds. Same works with Last Stand. If you start with 15, you have 13 left, then you hit, it goes down to 12, obviously, 13, 12, but then you hit shield block, it'll actually go up to 20. So really, you're not losing out on anything at all. And this is a kind of bad luck or bad play protection as well with Bolster, because in that way, let's say you screw up and you're not going to have shield block for when you need it, like an Icy Shards on the last box in Necrotic Wake. Last Stand, boom, you have it. You might have overdone your shield blocks, now you're good to go. So you can let those reset, and then you can get back into it. Well, you're not losing DPS, and you're not losing survivability on it. So really, I prefer Bolster. That's my argument for it, and that's what I'm going to stick with it. You guys can feel free and leave me down in the comment section below. As for conduits, I prefer my Destructive Reverberations Night Fae one. Absolute go-to for this build is a Stalwart Guardian to reduce the cooldown of Shield Wall, because you're going to need as much of it as possible. Finesse Conduits, Inspiring Presence, or Safeguard, your choice. I've been preferring Inspiring Presence more now that we're all geared, but while we work in the process of gearing up, I found Safeguard to be a little bit better. But Rallying Cry lets me pull things and get into a little bit more trouble and come out of it a little bit more unscathed. What Covenant you choose is completely up to you. It does not matter. Reprisal is Reprisal, and you're going to play it the way that you want to play. The Covenant abilities do not come into effect on how you're going to play this. Now, Charge Weaving. What Charge Weaving is when you get into a pack, you charge in, you get your shield block, you revenge, Thunderclap, Ravager, you get everything going, but you're in trouble, okay? Your healer says, hey, you're in trouble, you need to get out. What you can do is you can Heroic Leap out, kite for a bit, charge right back in, you have a shield block up and ready to go, and you're good to go. Now, what happens maybe your Last Stand's on cooldown? It happens. You screwed up, your Intervene's on cooldown, you can't charge. What you do is you charge, turn around as quickly as you can. What I do is literally, as you're Heroic Leaping, you should be holding the right button on your mouse, and you quickly do a 180 with your mouse, charge right back in. Literally, the pack doesn't even have the time to move. They're still in spot, so you're not removing anything out of Wild Spirits or anything like that. And then that way you keep everything flowing, and you have maximum uptime on shield block. That's what Charge Weaving is. And with this, you are going to ignore a lot of mechanics that chunk a lot of tanks. At this point now, I have 4 tanks at level 60, one at level 58, and the other one's at like level 38 or something. So I have experienced enough of them. 4 of them I have experience M+ with. The shield block really is so underrated, and I don't know why. Even the healers that heal me, like, you take no damage. Like, unless it's magic damage on packs, you get chunked a little bit, but, I mean, really, you're not taking that much, because shield block's ignoring a lot of it, okay? Don't turn your back to things. Let shield block do its job, and you are going to notice that you are a absolute truck of a tank, as long as you master shield block uptime. Things to note with Reprisal, or especially Warriors, is you're not great at magic damage. You have Spell Reflect, which you should be pressing it as often as you can when you know that there's casters. If you see a cast going off and you know things aren't going to get kicked, Spell Reflect, hit it. Trust me, it works. It's awesome. But these are the points where you want to use your Rage a little bit more on Ignore Pains. Ignore Pains is mainly for your magic damage mitigation, because you don't have anything else for it aside from Demo, Shout, or Shield Wall. But Ignore Pain is going to be your main active that you can do, that you're always going to have. As long as you have the Rage, you can Ignore Pain. So using your Ravager to build up the build up your rage during these packs to either A, spam revenge, or B, get those ignore pains in while you're revenging, I guess, to be able to work all of those things through. Buttons you should be pressing more. I see this all the time. People are like, well, I just don't have enough shield block. Are you intervening? Intervene is on a 30-second cooldown. So that means every 30 seconds you can get 4 free seconds of shield block, 20 rage, and a proc of revenge at 50% extra damage with the best served cold talent. Why aren't you using it? Because we forget. It happens. I have to have a weak aura that pops up and jumps to let me know when it's available, which you should be intervening a melee. Now, fun little thing that I've learned with intervene is if a party member is far away from you, you will turn and face that party member. But if the party member is within like 5 or 8 yards around you, you're actually not going to turn around. The turnaround process of intervene actually takes a good 15 yards. So what happens is if you're intervening in melee, you're actually probably not going to put your back to the mob, which is absolutely dangerous. You don't want to do that because then you have no shield block. Like, it's not working. Shield block only works in front of you. You know, if someone wants to slap you on the ass, they have every right to do so if you turn your back to them. So, don't. But if you have no melee in your group, you can ask your healer to just position himself behind you, kind of off to the side, but just stick close, 5-8 yards, but in that way when you intervene, you're going to notice that you're going to move just a smidge, and your back is never going to turn to them. So use intervene as often as possible, but that means when you do intervene someone, that person's going to need less healing for a good chunk of time. As long as they stay within range of you, I think it's like 10 yards, you're going to take all of the big damage for them, aside from like AoE. So it's all melee and all ranged attacks against them. Arbalest and Theater of Pain, great person to intervene as your healer, because then your healer won't get chonked off the random shots of the Arbalest that just like to target anybody. So Spell Reflect and Intervene should absolutely be using way more often with your Reprisal build. Intervene almost always on cooldown because it is an amazing rage generator. Because every 30 seconds, okay, so 17 seconds recharge time on charge, you got 2. So theoretically, you can pretty easily get 3 to 4 every 30 seconds. Theoretically. Intervene, 30-second cooldown. So between 4 charges, let's say 3, because 3 is much more feasible and actually possible. 3 charges, that's 12 seconds of shield block. Intervene, that's 16 seconds of shield block every 16 seconds just by charging and intervening. You haven't even hit shield block yet. Like, you haven't done it. So knowing when to charge, knowing when to intervene, because another tactic that you can do is intervene a party member that's far away, turn around, charge back in. That gives you 8 seconds of shield block. You lose DPS on this, though, so I try not to do this as much as possible. I try intervening somebody that's very close by, so I can just keep going and keep in the fight. But that's 16 seconds of shield block without actually having to hit shield block, which shield block works for 6 seconds, which you get 2 charges every 13 seconds. So really, 90 to 95% uptime on shield block is more than feasible with the Reprisal, which makes you an absolute tank. An absolute truck of a tank. Add bolster to that for a little bit of bad play protection, because we're human beings, we all make errors. You can easily have 90 to 95% effective shield block uptime. And just to give you a note, shield block is absolutely amazing on what it can stop. Just for example, Icy Shards, I alluded to this earlier, the last boss in Necrotic Wake, don't remember her name right now, but she or he does the Icy Shards cast. That's not magic. That's actually physical damage, which shield block 100% negates. Why don't you want it up? Make sure you got it up for Icy Shards. But with this build, you can. It's really easy to get done. It's really easy to have, and it is a ton of fun to play. And in all honesty, if you mix this in with the Night Fae Covenant, you are a very mobile class. You can easily heroic leap out of the way, soul shape, run away, you're speedy, you've got a lot of movement. Again, Vengeance Demon Hunter, of course, has a little bit more than you, but really, you're not doing that bad. You got a lot of stuns, Shockwave, H and Aftershock if you're Night Fae, but between, like, you just have a lot in your tool belt, especially Intimidating Shout, which is another one that as long as you know you're not going to pull other things, use Intimidating Shout. Because, again, they do flee, so watch out. This is very situational, but Intimidating Shout's a good one to use if you need to get away. Or keep things away. If you're cutting them towards the direction you just came, very, very good. Aside from that, I've been rambling on for a little bit. I have absolutely fallen in love with the Reprisal Warrior and think that it is an insanely good tank. It is a truck when played well. You are just impossible to take down for the most part. And I can't say impossible. You can easily overpull, misplay and things like that, but you are an absolute truck. And your DPS is insane. I am now averaging 3.7 to 4.7 K DPS per dungeon. That's not saying a necrotic wake with weapons. That's literally going into Expires of Ascension as a Night Fae. And just pure damage. That's going into a Theater of Pain or something, or Mist of Tyrannus Scythe, and not just using your kit. You have especially just with how you're set up, you can deal so much damage. It is absolutely unreal. And when you get the chance to Last Stand Revenge and just Revenge spam on Last Stand Ravager combo, you're going to see your damage literally skyrocket. People are going to be like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? And you're using a 2-minute defensive cooldown to do this. And you're spiking up to 12, 13, 14k. And for a tank not using anything, that's pretty good, which you can do almost every 2 minutes. Like, pretty much every 2 minutes you can get that done. So, that's just to say, Reprisal Warrior, that's the main build. These are the things you gotta keep in mind. Buttons to press more, definitely intervene. Always be pressing intervene. Do not heroic leap into battle. This is going to go to my things to not do section. Do not heroic leap into battle. Because what's happening there is you're not gaining anything from it. If you got to wait 3 seconds, I mean, if your time of the key, it literally hinges on you heroic leaping into this one battle, do it. Fine. Great. But most of the time, you waiting 2 or 3 seconds for a charge to come back is not going to kill your key. Always be charging into battle. Don't heroic leap. Charge. Intervene as much as possible. Use Spell Reflect. Really seriously use Spell Reflect. It can be an absolute lifesaver, and it can negate a lot of damage. Like, say, the last boss in Theater of Pain, Mordretha, I think it's Mordretha, you can actually, her Scythe, Reaper Scythe? Can't remember the ability. I'm pretty sure it's Scythe Reaper. Give me a second here while I check that out. Oh, Mordretha is her name, indeed. So her ability, Reaping Scythe, actually can 100% be negated by between Shield Block and Spell Reflect. But as long as you have a Spell Reflect up, you're going to negate that Reaping Scythe damage entirely. You're just going to negate the effect. Why wouldn't you want to do it? So just know when you can shield block. You should be shield blocking all the time, but what's shield blockable and what is actually spell reflectable, I'll leave that link down in the doobly-doo below as well. Someone other than me has put in a ton of effort into this, and I thank them tremendously for them having done this, because it is just an amazing piece of work that has helped me tremendously going through learning all the keys, learning what I need to know, learning what I should be spell reflecting, and what is just a waste when you press it. So I'll leave that down below. Aside from that, is there something I missed on the Reprisal Warrior? Something you guys think about it? Could be different, could be better, could be worse. Let me know down in the comments section below. Aside from that, like I said, I will be leaving the Discord community down below. Just getting this started. So if there's any channels or any recommendations, come on in. Let me know in that as well. I might split them up by classes. I might do a lot of things. We're going to see what happens, and we're going to kind of grow this as we can. Aside from that, I hope you guys are enjoying Shadowlands as much as I am, even though, yes, we all know it is dragging on way too long this patch. But we got what we got. Are you prepared to prepare a Prot Warrior for 9.1? Because I know I am incredibly excited for Prot Warriors in 9.1, and I think they are absolutely going to contend for top-tier tanks, especially in M+. Aside from that, I hope you guys are having yourself a great day, and thank you very much for listening.